Hi class, welcome to another session on rehabilitation engineering. Today we are going to discuss the last topic in our second unit, which is practice of rehabilitation engineering and assistive technology. So far we've just been discussing on exactly how you should respond if you are a rehabilitation engineer, or what are the various postulates that you need to keep in mind when you do the job of a rehabilitation engineer and so on. So, how exactly should we become a rehabilitation engineer? Is a big question, isn't it? It's fascinating when you realize that you're actually helping people out by using your education. But exactly how do you get that qualification of a rehabilitation engineer? Like I said, rehabilitation engineering became a formal engineering discipline in the early 1970s. So, what is it that you need to do to become a rehabilitation engineer? So, this is you can have certifications from RESTA where they say that you can become an independent consultant by having a proper license as a professional engineer, and that would be a certification course through RESNA. Other career opportunities. Suppose you are a biomedical engineer and then you have specialized in rehabilitation engineering as your master's, then you can, try out jobs in hospitals and rehabilitation units. So hospitals will require a rehabilitation engineer. I mean, if it is a multiple specialty hospital, then you can have cardiac rehabilitation, pulmonary rehabilitation. Other than that, if it is a hospital that deals with orthopedic surgeries, then you can have rehabilitation after a major joint surgery, such as the knee and the hip replacement. Also, if it is a hospital that deals with neurological conditions such as Parkinson's or stroke or spinal cord injuries, then you can be of help there as well by assisting in developing various technologies for those people. Other than these, there are specialized rehabilitation units as well attached to hospitals. I know there are a few in the NHS in UK where you have specialized rehabilitation centers. There are hospitals that have a specialized stroke unit and a spinal unit. So you have patients coming in on a regular basis who have disability. So these rehabilitation units are places where you can look out for a job, because there you would directly be dealing with the intended patient group and visualizing exactly what their conditions are. The variety of patients that you see would make you more versatile, would make you understand the problem better, and ultimately, when you design a device to help them, you would have done better risk assessment than someone who has just had knowledge from the book. So, practical knowledge as a rehabilitation engineer is very, very important, and that can be achieved, that can be attained, or that can be obtained by working in hospitals and rehabilitation units. Also, you can look out for companies that are manufacturing, orthopedic implants. So they would actually have done a lot of studies, or they would have tie-ups with potential hospitals where they can sell their device. So that way, you'll have an industrial view as well as a clinical view of how the device is used. So that is something that can also be considered. Now, salary and benefits were competitive. However, in India, rehabilitation is still in its infancy, so it has not grown as much as it has in the Western countries. So, Western countries, you have like the salaries are quite competitive with any other branch of engineering. Also, another place that could possibly benefit with rehabilitation engineers are special schools. The schools that are dedicated to educate children with cerebral palsy. So there you definitely see a wide range of disability, and based on your creativity and your experience, you can develop devices that would enhance the function of these children. So also these schools and districts should comply with the Individuals with Disability Education Act. So they are generally school for special children. So these children might have learning disabilities, or they might have speech pathology or anything. So depending on what kind of patient group are you going to be interacting with, you can use your expertise and you can use your knowledge to develop devices or develop technology that would help these children. So you can also be contractual workers or individual contributors for companies that are manufacturing assistive devices. And as an independent consultant, it is necessary that you have a proper license of professional engineer that is certified through RESNA. So rehabilitation engineering, like I said, is recognized as a separate branch now. So do you think that is going? So how is it going to change the outlook of rehabilitation in the future? Is a big question. So the most likely trends that are to be implemented in the near future are that mandatory certification courses through RAFNA for recognizing an individual as a professional rehabilitation engineer, and then expansion of education of rehabilitation engineers and technologists, because you have to be abreast with whatever disability that people are facing, and then only when you understand the problem could you potentially provide a solution. At the same time, rehabilitation engineers should also have thorough knowledge of latest technology. For example, the sensors, the state of the art sensors that are available, and whether any of those sensors can be used as a user interface for any other device that you're developing is something that needs to be considered. Because, like I said, many of your users may very well be happy with just a touch button. However, there might be a few tech savvy people who would want something that is really modern and that is really cool so that they can show off. So you should be able to cater for those kind of individual as well. Again, universal access and universal design of consumer interfaces is very, very essential, because if you do not globalize your idea, people will not understand the importance of it. At the same time, people will not realize that, okay, I can use this technology in this way to enhance the performance. So it is something that you should share. I mean, I'm not saying that you just give your idea out in the open. Make sure that you get credit for it by, filing for a patent or filing for copyright. And then, let others know that, hey, this is something that can be explored as well. So that would, trigger other people to think out of the box. And then, that way technology as such can grow globally. Importance of ergonomics in rehabilitation has to be understood very, very well. You have to understand the requirement of each and every individual before you suggest them an assist device. So that is very, very important. Cost benefit analysis and quality assurance. See, this is human psychology, to pay less and get maximum, right? So you have to make sure, and like I said, not everyone can afford all devices. So make sure that whatever device that you are putting out in the market would be affordable to majority of the people, and then the quality of the device does not get compromised because you're selling it cheaper, right? Quality is of utmost importance, because if quality is not good, the rehabilitation therapy would not be successful. So that actually nullifies the sole purpose of using an assist device. So that is something that you should keep in mind. And then you can have wireless technology and wireless devices as well, which would be used. So often, if there's a wired device that the individual is using, so while they're locomoting in a wheelchair, for example, then there are chances that the wires coming out of the device can get tangled with the wheelchair handle or wheelchair, the wheels of the wheelchair and everything. So that can cause damage to the device. It can cause damage to the wheelchair of the person is using, and ultimately the patient would not receive the benefit out of the assist device. So this is something. So if you go for wireless, less number of wires, of course it is going to drain more battery, but we can work that out. If it is less number of wires, it looks cosmetically appealing, and it would reduce these risks of breakdown of the device, and it would probably ensure a more smooth operation of the device. It would reduce the donning and doffing time, that is the time required to wear the device and time required to take the device off. So all these are advantages if you go for wireless technology and use wireless devices, right? So all these are the futuristic view of rehabilitation engineering. In 2020, when this video is getting recorded, some of this have actually been implemented. Wireless technology is slowly gaining popularity in where many of the assistive devices that we see in the market today. However, there's still a scope of there's still a really large scope of improvement and as far as technology is concerned, and I'm sure as rehabilitation engineers all of us would work towards it and then make it a success. So with this, I'm very pleased to say that we are winding our second unit, and I shall see you again in another video with topics from your third unit. I hope you take good care of yourself. Bye bye.